My guest is Chantal Malan. She has a postgraduate degree in counselling psychology. She was head of the Career Centre of the University of Stellenbosch Business School until 2005, when she decided to exchange the counselling of students for the life of motherhood. She is joining me in the lounge to talk about a very effective tool that strengthens the loving parent-child relationship in helping families deal with everyday stress and anxiety. Your child was diagnosed with dyslexia and autism at a very young age. What was the challenges you faced?
It was very challenging because right from the start I could see that he was different than the other children of his age groups. He would rock forwards and backwards, and as he became a toddler he had frequent meltdowns and was very anxious, cried a lot, and was very resistant to any kind of instruction I gave him. And then when I started to study what autism is about, what dyslexia is about, I understood his frustration much better. But it was still so overwhelming to deal with somebody that just didn't listen, that was completely frustrated all the time, that was so angry that I couldn't just tell him, please Emile, come to me. It would be crying, thrashing on the floor, and at that stage I became exceptionally overwhelmed and I couldn't cope with the day-to-day demands of dealing with a special needs child that was completely wild and relentless in the onslaught of frustration and anxiety. So at one stage I became exceptionally argumentative and I wanted him to listen to me, and when he didn't listen to me I started yelling, and then afterwards I would apologize profusely, but I could feel his trust. I was eroding his trust in me because I was supposed to be a safe space and I was supposed to be a loving, doting mom, but I was overwhelmed and I couldn't cope.
And that's when you realized that you could use your knowledge and how you helped anxious students and adults by modifying it a bit to help your son.
That's correct. Yes, when I was at the Career Centre, I was looking into a technique called mindfulness. And now mindfulness means that you're completely present and aware in the moment, and that you have an attitude of compassion and of non-judgment and of curiosity. So you are a calm, neutral observer to what is happening around you. And then I realized, well, this worked so well for the students, I can modify it to help my son.
You call this technique the breathing fish technique. Please tell us more.
All right. Now, I think it was a flash of inspiration because all the years of feeling so overwhelmed, one day when my son was having a meltdown, I took his hand and I went and I put him on a pillow and I said, I think it's time for us just to breathe before we carry on with the conversation. And I could immediately sense him responding so well to what I asked. I had a little pillow, it had a picture of a fish with a snorkel and some goggles, and I said, let's breathe with a fish. And I could see him completely relaxing and starting to breathe, and I realized, but now I can do my mindfulness technique with what I did with the adults. So I was like, first settling down, and then you breathe, and as you feel a sense of calmness come over you, you relax your shoulders, and then you start exploring your own emotions. What is it that I'm feeling? Because naming and recognizing what you're feeling is very important. That is the foundation of emotional intelligence. And so as I name and accept what I'm feeling, my own sense of doubt and frustration, I have compassion for it because I don't know how to deal with the situation. So I have compassion for what I'm feeling, I'm accepting what I'm feeling, and in this moment now I can extend it to my child. I now feel acceptance of his anger and frustration, and I extend my compassion to his emotions because he's just a little boy he's overwhelmed with his emotions, and it's my job as his mom to help him become emotionally intelligent, name, recognize, and accept his emotions, and then express it. Because when we are angry or sad, it's just flip sides of the same coin, and that coin is helplessness. I feel helpless, I can't deal with my frustration, so I shout. He's helpless, he can't deal with his frustration, so he shouts. So we're looking at the anger or the sadness, which we must express, but the helplessness we address, and mindfulness helps with that. So for example, now as I extend my compassion and acceptance for his emotions, he will tell me, I'm angry because you don't listen. At this instance, it's important for me to stay as neutral as possible.
Yeah,
neutral.
not just say that. But it's because.
Because now I want to defend myself.
Yeah.
Because instinctively you'd like to say, I listen all the time. How much more must I listen? But this is to stay calm and neutral and with the attitude of non-judgment and curiosity and kindness. So, all right. So you are angry because you feel I don't listen. You must feel a sense of being seen and heard. Then he says, yes, I'm feeling angry. How do we express this in a way that's not harmful to yourself or not harmful to others? And then he can say, well, I can punch the pillow, or I can go for a quick run, or draw in a red color. And then, so we've expressed the emotion, now we have to address the helplessness. What are you going to do in the future not to feel helpless? It could be speaking up. Stop, Mom. I'm not feeling very good. Why aren't you listening at this moment in time? Or anything that will make him feel he's taking charge of the situation and charge of his emotions. But the feeling of being in charge of your emotions start with recognizing it. And recognizing it before it escalates. And that's where the breathing fish technique comes in. Because if you recognize, ooh, my emotions are running high, it's running away from me, then we can say, it's a red flag, let me meet my emotions. And then, yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask, so does your son tell you, Mom, I need to breathe now? Or do you sort of, well, when he was little, because he's a lot older now, but, or did you tell him, I think we should go and sit on the pillow to breathe?
It started off by me saying, it's time to breathe, it's time to breathe, and after a while he would say, I need to breathe. Because ultimately, the breathing pillow or the calm corner or whatever, however one chooses to incorporate it in your household is for the wellness of everyone in the household. So it could be, I'm feeling overwhelmed, then I go sit in the corner, and listen to soothing music, or just a space where I gather all my thoughts and my emotions to myself. And then it's a sign for everybody in the house to know
you need a bit of space.
And my son uses it, and yes, it could be even work for husbands if they are willing to take part in the technique. Yes. And what's happened, the benefits of it, is that it creates a foundation for emotional intelligence, because now we don't need so much prompting to see the emotions are escalating. All of us can say, ooh, breathe, and then say, I am feeling not seen, not heard. My son, for example, would say, when I get upset, he says, look at the reasons why you're upset now. Are you hungry? Do you need a nap? Did I say something that I upset you? So they pick it up and they can reflect it back to you. And if you are open to it, you can say, oh, thank you. You're helping me be mindful again. And then you can say, yes, my blood sugar is low. I do need a snack.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And so So I think the importance as well with the breathing fish technique that I know that helped us was as well to the way you speak to your child, because that was early on. I was so overwhelmed with the diagnosis of the autism and the dyslexia and the frustration and the frustrating behavior that go with it, that I was so focused on that and that I forgot to look at my child for the gift he is and for the gifts he brings. So after a while, I only started focusing on how to affirm his kind behaviors, his loving behaviors. So then I would say, instead of, why are you so naughty? I would say, you are such a kind and loving child. So I'm wondering where the misbehavior is coming from. Do we need to go to the breathing fish? Yeah, so it's never name calling, never frustrating or emotions escalating. And the other, I would say, for example, you always listen to me, so it is interesting that you're not listening to me now. What's happening? So the whole technique is specifically in the moment, where you can say, let's go and sit and breathe. Or it could be in daily living, where you say, let's stop what's happening here quickly, and we can just quickly talk about why you're not listening. And what I feel very good in terms of giving children choices and options, not only just with how to express their emotions, but also give them options how they want to help you in the house. For example, when I say let's clean your room, then I don't say let's clean your room. I would say you can choose where you want to put your Lego, you can choose where you want to put your stuffed animals, you can choose what time of day you want to clean it, but as long as by 6 o'clock there are no dirty clothes on the floor. And then, do you agree? Does it make sense? Then we do it.
Yeah, you mentioned to me outside of this conversation that it's the same way as you would speak to an adult, or how you would want someone to speak to you. You don't want them to just tell you to go wash the dishes.
Yes.
Because you have autonomy and you can make your own decisions. So, yes, we want our kids to cooperate, but we are not sergeant majors.
No.
Giving them orders.
But exactly, this is the thing. The littlest kid has the biggest adult emotions. That child feels shame as I do, guilt as I do, resentment as I do. So if I tell him, stop playing Minecraft now and wash the dishes, how would I feel if he tells me, stop reading your book now and make me a snack plate? It is, Mom, when you finish that page, could you please make me a snack plate? And I say, if you finished with this campaign, could you help me? And it is very calm, and we respect each other. And I would say, just at the core of it is mindfulness, knowing yourself, knowing your own emotions, knowing what triggers you, and let other people know what triggers you. In the past, we have had conversations where I would overreact, and then my son and I would have a conversation about it, and I say, oh, but you know why? It's because of when I was younger. And then it would become a debate about why we are the way we are, and how to take charge, and how to release the trauma. But these things, you don't have to go into a psychological debate. You can just be mindful in every moment, saying, this is what I'm feeling, I accept what I'm feeling, I recognize it, and I have compassion with it, and now I express it in the way that, and then I take charge, so that the helpless feeling goes away, because like I said, it's the helplessness the parent feels, and it's the helplessness that the child feels that's at the root cause of the frustration and sadness and misbehavior.
Yeah, and we as parents also need to be honest with our children.
Yeah.
Especially about our emotions.
Exactly, because that will give them an example of what it is like I will tell him, I'm tired now, I'm overwhelmed. Because they need to learn compassion, and they learn it through being compassionate with us. And our children want to love us and take care of us. It might not seem that way, but once you show them how to do it, they do it automatically to you. Because if I shout at my child, that's how I'm teaching my child. This is what love is. This is what compassion looks like. You shout and demand. But if you say, let me tuck you in, let me listen to your problem, let me show you who you are and that I accept you without conditions, that child can say, oh, this is what love looks like, and he has now the knowledge and the tools to reflect it back to you. And I've had that because I would sit and then Emil would say, come, let me make you a cup of tea, let me put on your favorite show, Netflix, I'll clean the room, and if you need me, then call me. And I believe it is because of this mutual respect and mindfulness technique. It doesn't mean that we don't get upset. It doesn't mean that everything's hunky-dory. It just means that going from feeling escalated to feeling calm doesn't take so long. And there aren't any blow-ups.
Yeah, you're not harming your relationship.
No, we are talking through it. And it's a daily thing still, because as the child gets older and as he becomes a teenager or she becomes a teenager, there are other things that's coming into the equation. So let's be mindful about that. And yes. But I think my big thing is why I want to share it is because it changed my relationship with myself and my son. Mindfulness really made a huge difference, and we have such a loving, trusting relationship and a close bond that if anybody can benefit from it, I would be so happy. It's because to be able to calm home life is, I would say, the best thing there is for families.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've created a Facebook page with this goal in mind, so
Yes.
that others can ask and share and
Yeah. It's free of charge. You just go read the story that we've shared today, and then you message me, or write your own experiences, and we can have a discussion. And if you find the technique interesting, you want to ask more questions, send me a direct inbox, and then I'll see how I can help.
Yeah. What's the name of the Facebook page?
The Breathing Fish.
Breathing Fish.
Yeah.
Chantal, thank you very much.